How's it going, everybody? Nathan Barna here. Today, I wanted to talk about meditation. I feel like there's a lot of stigma behind that word. A lot of people associate it with, when you hear the word meditation, you think of monks sitting in a cave, or some kind of cult or spiritual religion practice. But really what I mean is just, it was Shinzin, I forget his last name, but I recently listened to a podcast and he called it a contemplative practice, which I like because it takes all of the, baggage out of the word of meditation. But whatever you call it, essentially I'm referring to, a practice that you do that helps you create awareness in your mind, in your body, in your life in general. And I think it's important to talk about these things because a lot of people, especially now, in this time where there isn't a lot of awareness and there isn't a lot of consciousness happening at a myriad of different levels, I think it's important to have some sort of practice for people. And the idea of meditation or a contemplative practice can seem sort of scary or intimidating because I'm sure most of you, if you've tried sitting alone in silence with your own thoughts, it can be pretty intimidating and scary, and you can feel very vulnerable, and you can also feel frustrated that you're not able to stop the constant chatter of your mind. And that's kind of one of the first things I wanted to dispel about the idea of meditation is that it's not about stopping your thoughts. We all have this idea of this, peaceful state of just zero thoughts and zero mind and complete ease and complete relaxation and joy. And that's why, again, most of us, when we try to do that and we try to force ourselves to stop thinking, only to find that the thinking just gets worse because we're thinking about not being able to stop our thinking, then we get frustrated and most of us abandon ship at that point. But what I wanted to bring to light here is that you're not going to stop the mind. The whole nature of the mind is to think, and it's going to think. But the important part of the practice of meditation is so that you can develop the awareness of your thoughts and create detachment from your thoughts, so that when you are thinking and when there is that constant chatter, even though you're not trying to stop it from happening, you are aware that it's happening. Because most of us, when we're thinking, and it said we have about 68,000 thoughts per day, but if you're not aware of your thoughts, you're identifying with your thoughts, and your thoughts become you and you become your thoughts, not realizing that most of the thoughts that you have are, one, negative, and two, usually are not your own. Usually it's, what somebody said on social media, or what you saw on the news, or what your parents told you, or what your teachers told you, or what your friends believe. Any number of things can be implanted into us. So when you're meditating, and it can look in many different ways, whether you choose to, lie down or sit down or sit in, the stereotypical cross-legged posture, I honestly, I've found that doesn't matter as much as long as you can find a position that you're comfortable in and that's not so relaxing, like lying down in your bed, that you can easily fall asleep, because you do want to keep a level of awareness so that you can work through these things. Because obviously if you just fall asleep, like, yeah, your thoughts might stop, even though they really don't, because you probably go into dreaming, but you go unconscious. Instead of raising your consciousness, you lower your consciousness. So you still want to have general alertness when you're doing a meditation, but sitting, or lying down, standing doesn't matter that much, at least in the beginning. And a disclaimer, I don't claim to be an expert at meditation. I've been meditating regularly, pretty much daily, probably since I was 17 or 18. So, 6-ish years now. But still, I feel like I've only begun to scratch the surface of the potential of my awareness and of my mind. But the biggest thing that I have noticed and that I have gained from meditation that I'm trying to relay through this video is that when you just take the time to sit with yourself, put your phone away, turn the TV off, turn the music off, eliminate all distraction, because that's what our world is constantly filled of, is distraction after distraction after distraction. So when you allow yourself to eliminate all the distractions and just be with yourself, not trying to do anything, but just be, now you can create that space to start to analyze your thoughts. Again, you don't have to stop them. That's not the goal, but just to become aware of them. So you can see every time you have that, I'm too fat, I'm too ugly, I'm not good enough, I'm too much this, I shouldn't have done this, I could have done that. All of these thoughts that most of us have frequently, you can start to see them. And once you start to see them and have that objective awareness of them and create that space between the thoughts and who you actually are, which once you create that space, you realize that you're not your thoughts. You have thoughts, but you're not thoughts. So once you see that, now you can start to choose your thoughts. So if you start having that repetitive thought of, I'm not good enough, or, I'm too this, I'm too much that, you can choose to have another thought. And this is one of the most important things, because what you are putting out is exactly what you're going to get back. That is how the fundamental laws of the universe, and if you study quantum physics and how particles can come in and out of our awareness just through intention alone, and that everything that we think of as physical is really 99.99% empty space, or if you go even deeper, empty space is very dense with energy and information. So 99.9% energy and information. We do have the capacity to manifest things out of the thoughts that we have, because these thoughts are a form of energy and information that we're putting out into the universe at the quantum level. But again, we don't have to get too deep into that. Basically, I'm saying that your thoughts matter, especially the ones that you have repeatedly, and you're going to get back exactly what you put out. So if all you're saying all day is, I'm too fat, I'm too ugly, I'm not good enough, that's exactly what you're going to get back. So when you create that awareness, now you can catch yourself and you can flip the coin over. So if maybe on the negative, you say, I'm too fat. On the positive, you can say either I'm healthy, or I'm beautiful, or if you can't get behind that, you can at least say, I'm making steps towards being healthier, towards loving myself. I have the potential to love myself at the very least, because at least you're putting out something, a potential to move towards. But ideally, exactly what you want is exactly what you should put out. And that's exactly what you will begin to get back if you can really get behind it and, choose the thoughts that you want to have. So really, that's the main message here. If you can find a time for yourself and make it a regular practice, even if it's just 5 minutes to start, it really doesn't matter. You want to create that habit. Decide what time of the day, whether it's right after you get up or right before you go to bed. I personally I do both. But I find in the morning, because I like to wake up early, nobody is up, so I don't have any distractions. That's a good time for me to really sit and be with myself. But whatever time that is doesn't really matter, as long as you stay consistent with it and do it on a regular basis. You can get real deep into, counting breaths or just watching your breath, but really with yourself, and see if you can be aware of the thoughts that you're having as a first step in that direction. And then from there, that's when you can start to play around with, once you learn that you can choose your thoughts, then you can maybe choose to not have any thoughts. Maybe you can create that. Not to say that you're trying to stop the thoughts, but you can choose to not have them out of your awareness. And that's when you get to a deeper level of these things. But again, it's like anything, it's a practice, and it needs to be a frequent and consistent practice. And then ideally you can bring that practice into your daily life. So instead of just the 5 minutes, because you've taken that time to do it alone without distraction, now you can start to bring that awareness in your daily lives, and when your work, in the relationships that you're having, when you're trying to manage your children, when you're, having to do a presentation, all of these different things, you can constantly have that awareness and that witness in the back of your head to have that objective stance and not get caught up in the whirlwind of daily life. So I hope this helps, and I hope this is something that you can start to implement, because honestly, we need more people that have more awareness of not only themselves, but of what's going on in the world. And we need more people at a higher level of consciousness that can be a source of guidance and inspiration and of love for everybody, so that ultimately this world can be a better place, and so that we can do it in a loving and non-violent way. So get your contemplative practice, make it consistent. I'll talk to you guys next time.